Are the concepts and our experiences of good and evil really part of reality, or just a part of our meager understanding of the Creator's actions on our behalf? And then the second part is, if there really is good and evil, can you elaborate on that and explain what we need to understand about it?
I'm going to start with the second part of the question first. There are two intended aspects of a single force. This force of development works on us through what Kabbalah calls the left and the right hand. So the right hand is what inspires us. It draws us close. It fulfills us, and we feel our will to receive in some way is fulfilled by it. The presence of the light that is greater than our capacity to, let's say, accept or nullify, internalize that light, not in order to receive for ourselves, but in order to bestow. If the light is greater than our capacity to do that, it's felt by us as evil. Now that's because there is nothing actually that exists but the light of the Creator. Nothing. So whether it is good or evil depends on what we're asking for and our preparation and past experience, the accumulation of experience to justify these acts of the light that's evolving us, and for us to feel it as good. The definition of the Creator, one of the definitions, because it depends on all of these definitions and names come from the attainments of Kabbalists, or like when a person experiences a certain thing and they know for certain it's confirmed in them that this is what it's like to rise to a certain level. That's called a name. So this is like a name of the Creator, the good who does good to the good and the bad. It's all good. And the light is always at rest and is always only doing that original thought of creation. Our level of development says to us what's good and what's bad. What happens, though, eventually, is that a Kabbalist learns to work with both the left and the right hand and to be stuck on neither of these. Eventually, what you'll learn to do is to work with what's called a third line, which is very beautiful, and it's called above reason. But simply what that means is to be able to see both the thing that's happening where the light is so strong, the surrounding light is so strong that we can't let it in, and we feel it as opposed to us because we're created opposite. You get to work to acknowledge that and to work above that, the true creative level. Those are the places where we're bonded to the Creator and not stuck in either the left or the right hand that affects our will to receive and sort of coaches it along.
And Johnny on Facebook from South Africa asking, there are many mainstream and well-researched documentaries on spirituality and old cultures, but none that I have seen mentioned Kabbalah. Why?
Well, usually the ones that mention Kabbalah say that it's evil. They're usually pretty weird things. Well, we're the only ones, I think, who are there. There are some places that there's plenty of material on Kabbalah. Most of it inaccurate. Why nobody has done a documentary about it is because nobody understands it. All those documentaries about the greatness of various spiritual paths are all done in order to satisfy the egoistic perspective of spirituality. It's difficult to talk about Kabbalah because it requires such a profound change in the person. So most of Kabbalah is as concealed as the Creator itself. We don't see the Creator because the Creator bestows and wants us to develop. So the Creator, that force of bestowal is hidden, and all we see is what we want to see according to our ego. Kabbalah is like that. It's concealed because a person has to have a certain kind of a desire in the first place to understand that they want to correct themselves, to have some sort of spark sensation point in the heart that tells them that there is this loving force, and it is attainable to the degree that humans can attain it. That's not apparent to the will to receive. It's unlike talking about a religion. It's unlike talking about having superpowers of some sort, through, levitation, yogic, or it's not like that. It's so interwoven into the laws of nature itself that it is the law of nature. So people just don't see it. I think maybe you should study completely, and you do a documentary on it. At least you have an inkling of what it is and who to ask.
Hello, all friends. I just wanted to talk about this idea that there is none else besides him. And I think Rob Lightman and Julian have given us this exercise before in Kabbalah experience to go about our day and try to maintain constant contact with the Creator. And wow, what a powerful experience and exercise. And I guess my question is, and I hope this makes sense, if I am trying to correct the highest level of desire, to love my friend as myself, will that correct? It's said that loving your friend as yourself should correct all the other desires below, like the vegetative and all of those, externally and internally. And I guess my question is, if I'm trying to see the Creator and everything, if I'm walking outside or if I'm eating, when I'm trying to love others as myself, will that intention spill over into the lesser desires? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there is only one central issue, and that's prayer for others, like concern for others. That is the Creator's attitude towards the creation. And it's the only issue that we need to work on. First of all, it's an interesting exercise to think about, relating to the Creator without relating through people, because you will see that it's almost impossible to hold on to. You'll have moments, but it's going to disappear, because the only way in which that can become a kind of steady state or close to that steady state is that one has to be working with the emotive stuff that happens inside of us on a constant basis. We can't be taking ourselves out of it and trying to relate to the Creator without relating to the medium that the Creator is presenting to us through people. People engage us full scale. They are us in the sense that they touch every aspect of us, from the lowest kind of desire to the highest desire, and there is an interplay that engages everything. When you engage everything and you're giving everything, or you're attempting to give everything, that's when we see the Creator in everything. And none else besides him is both outside of us and is also inside of us. And the only way that we can feel that is through relating to people and not abstracting it. That's why I told in the question before, try. Even though that exercise is like a no-win exercise that you described, it leads you to the place that you understand you can't do that alone. Thank God, because the place that we're going to is about not alone. It's about connection. It's about the goodness of connection, the fullness, the pleasure, the true pleasure. But if you work on the single issue, it corrects everything else. It all ripples down. It only depends on your intention, not on your action, and not really very much on your thoughts at all. You're not in control of your thoughts.
If this is something that we're supposed to attain and evolve to, why do some people get this knowledge at a young age versus some people getting this knowledge at an older age, or some having to wait other lifetimes for it? I mean, doesn't everyone have the opportunity, or is everyone given that opportunity? Because even though I know, we have a journey and a path, but we also have decisions. So for a person like me who has come through trial and error, but yet still was able to the other side, why must it take so long for some and not for others? Is it because of the life choices we're supposed to have? Like, does it mean that once you advance through the Kabbalah and you come back in another lifetime, if you become a teacher, then if you continue on from where you left off, like, how does that work?
Yeah, okay, so that's a compound question. If a person attains their correction, the correction of their own soul within this lifetime, they don't return to the will to receive. A person becomes a teacher in the current lifetime. A person can attain all of it in one lifetime. What's after that and what that reality is like, I'll send you a postcard. I really don't know, but everybody has access to it, and like everything else in the whole system of nature, things evolve according to what's best for them, and ultimately, it's the being caught up in judging the development of other people is a kind of a trap. If you really look at the situation, like in what you have in your hands, all you've got is what happened to you in the past, what brought you here, and the fact that you are here and you're at the beginning of the path. That's all that there is. The other people's stuff, you don't get to experience any of that. You get to experience your attitude towards other people where you are in your development, and there's nothing holding you back. You have an open door, open gates in front of you. All you have to do is engage with it and give yourself to the greatness of the path and do it. And it will happen. And the condition of everybody else that you're now trying to measure your development against, that disappears, because it becomes clear that your development is actually the development of the entire creature, experienced in you. It's like your perspective on the development of the entire creature, even if it appears that some people over there are just planning their next bank robbery. In you, that's not what's going on at all. You're raising the entire creation with you. You just have to understand what our inner nature actually is. It's not what we think it is. It's not us separated from other people. It's our take, our cog in the field of the single creature. And we have work to do in that. So it doesn't involve time and separation the way that it appears to us at the beginning of the path.
Let's start. Is the sixth sense buried inside us by the Jewish God?
No, it's outside of us.
Why am I writing this? Is it because I want it? Is it my free will?
It feels like your free will, but everything comes from above. And you got to find how that's so, and then become one with that.
Do you recommend that we learn Hebrew?
If you want to, yes. There's things that Hebrew is a multidimensional language, and it helps to know it. It should not be a barrier for your study, though.
Will I notice if I'm in spiritual world?
Yes, you will notice, because it will be a decision.
Is Kabbalah just receiving the mystical interpretations, or are there actual practices?
There is a methodology. There are no external practices, so to speak. And it's not just receiving, it's an active approach.
Why do some people not feel the good?
All people don't feel the good.
Why does Kabbalah suggest for people experiencing addiction? What does Kabbalah suggest to people experiencing addictions to alcohol, drugs, to transform into opposite healthy direction?
Addiction is addiction to the will to receive in some form or another. There are medical and psychological ways of doing that. A person should go to a doctor or to a place that deals specifically with that and separate that from their work in spirituality. That way you won't confuse things.
Wow. What is blasphemy?
Blasphemy is thinking that there's evil.
Do we ever stop existing? Do I have a choice to stop existing after I die? Maybe I don't want this crazy life circles.
No, you don't have a choice.
Does Kabbalah have any specific tools to address the unfolding climate crisis?
Yes, change yourself. That will change everything.
What are the spirits of the afterlife that people experience here on earth?
They are their will to receive.
How Kabbalah defines suffering?
Ow!
Why do some people not feel the spark?
Because it's latent, but it will open in them as well.
Can you teach spiritual awakening? My challenge is to awaken all without telling and speaking.
Well, that's what we are doing, but I don't get the second part of your question, but I love you anyway.
Can you explain how the Creator worked together to 10 Sefirot?
10 Sefirot are...
through to 10
the 10 Sefirot are the human sense organs outside of the ego, and that's where we feel the Creator.
How do you judge a person's stage of development?
A person has to do that for himself.
What happens if you love someone more than you love yourself? Oh, okay.
Then you're in good shape.